going on all around you in terms of security and all of that, and to, as it were, appropriate degrees of importance to those different, if you like, tensions that may be brewing here and there. Some you cannot take too seriously, because otherwise you'll be deploying resources in the wrong places. Others you have to take on a long-term basis. And some are actual emergencies which you must deal with. The Northeast is an actual emergency. We must deal with it, and we're dealing with it on a daily basis. It's a huge distraction, because obviously, you know, suicide bombing is, aside from the fact that it's extremely unconventional, you know, and it is easy. I mean, it's easy to do almost, you know, and it creates a great deal of tension. It is not a reflection of the military capability of the insurgents or terrorists, you know. It is more the fact that you can take advantage of people if you are prepared to kill yourself, or if you are prepared to kill somebody else. You know, if you are prepared to throw a bomb into a marketplace and die in the process, obviously you present a challenge that is new, and a challenge that in different parts of the world people are really trying to grapple with. Parts of the world where you find these kinds of terrorism, where people are trying to grapple with. And in our conversations with people dealing with this in other parts of the world, especially suicide bombing, we find that we have to learn, you know, there's a whole learning curve around it, and we have to learn quickly. But most importantly, we also have to deal with issues of education, you know, and I'm talking now not even of the whole magnitude of, you know, proper education, but just educating the public and educating young people in particular about, you know, the issues around the suicide bombing, how people are recruited and all that. If you look at some of the examples we've seen recently, I mean, some of them are 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds who have no knowledge whatsoever of what they're doing. And some of these bombs are detonated remotely. So, I mean, someone is fitted with IEDs, a little girl is fitted with IEDs, and she's told to go to a particular place, pull something when she gets there. She will hear a loud noise and people will come. And then, you know, of course, she's blown up in the process. So a lot of that is happening. And you find, for us, some of what is consoling is you're getting fewer and fewer recruits, and that's the reason why they need to use these young girls in that way. So we think a lot of education is necessary. You know, a lot of, you know, education at the grassroots is necessary. Then, of course, the other issues, of course, of the military engagements and all that. Now, that's a huge drain on resources. So we have to set aside resources also to, you know, to militarily engage the insurgents. We think that there's a great deal of success in that particular respect, and we think that their capacity has been degraded substantially. We don't expect that Boko Haram will be able to present the kind of threat militarily that it had presented in the past. So we're reasonably comfortable with that aspect. But tensions developing in other parts of the country, and you almost invariably will find that people are recruited into some cause or the other because of the way things are, and especially young people. We think that there is a need for us to engage young people more, and that's the whole question of job creation, turning around the economy and all that. It really is an old cliche about the devil finding work for idle hands. When people are that young and they have very little that they're doing, obviously they're going to get into all manner of causes, you know. I mean, in fact, some that are outrightly absurd. So we think that there is that the economic turnaround that we're looking for and that we're working at will conduce to reduction in the tensions across the country. And we think that the time that as we make economic advancement, as we provide jobs, and as we provide education and some of the social investments that we intend to make, life will be easier, you know, and people will find that they are more part of their stakeholders. At the moment, a lot of young people are alienated. You know, they just don't see much hope. And if you don't see much hope, obviously, destroying whatever you find is an option which is easy to make. And so we think that all of the improvements we intend to make in the economy, the social investments in education, in healthcare, and all of those, will conduce to a better environment. So we think that the solution overall is in improving the living conditions of our people through improving the economy.
Okay, as a rider to that, just the issue of integration. We're a nation, but yet most people see themselves as parts of segments rather than as part of the whole. That, I believe, presents a major issue even for the security, because a lot of the agitations and that we have comes out of the regional or tribal and all of those sectional interests. And what has happened is other people then take advantage of that. It has impact in different areas, including in our economic development, because areas where you should have regional collaboration in terms of economic development to foster growth in an area, it's more difficult because people are not seeing themselves as part of the whole. Yes. What exactly are we going to do about that?
I think that generally, again, xenophobia, which is probably an extreme end of that spectrum that you described, is always fueled again by economic downturns. Economic downturns just make those things worse. And one of the reasons why that is so is because political actors always tend to resort to their tribal or even sometimes religious affiliations as an explanation of why things are not going right for them. So you find that very easily. People talk about, look at the kinds of engagements you have. 4 people are appointed to political office today, and people don't ask, are these good people? The question is this one not, all of them are from the southwest, or all of them are from the northeast. A lot of that talk is actually fueled by the elite in those who always think that, look, this is the fastest way of getting recognition. The man who will ask, how many people from the southeast did they put here, is invariably one who wants to advance his interest. The one who will ask how many people from the northeast wants to advance his interest. And we've honed this, is now an art form. The moment we want to get any kind of advancement, we just resort to our tribal or our religious affiliations for support. And it's a very major problem, because it also influences the way people think. It influences the way everybody else thinks. And my assessment of this is that I have not seen, and this is the honest truth, I've never seen where, for example, the fact that a northern leader is in power, there's been no necessary correlation in the improvement of the circumstances of his people. The fact that a southwest leader is in power, there's been no necessary correlation with the improvement of the circumstances of his people. And we have all these examples we have had, of actual persons who will say, oh yes, it's the turn of the southwest. So does it mean benefit for the southwest? I'm talking of the people now, not individuals, not the elite. So I think that all of this is tied to the way that people feel about themselves, and politicians generally tend, and leaders too, not necessarily just politicians, leaders generally tend to feel this to advance their own interests. And I think that the more we're able to give a lie, to show that this is a lie, and to show that the Nigerian people, whether they are from the southwest, northeast, or whatever, are united in one thing: the majority are extremely poor, and the majority want real opportunity. And you'll find that the elite, whether they are from the southwest, northeast, or whatever, are willing to collaborate when it comes to stealing the resources of the state. They're very willing. There's no problem at all, So we think it's important to point out that this is just a lie. It's just an elite construct which is meant to divert attention from what the reality is. And the more we say it, the more we advance it, and the more we show that this is the way that it ought to be done, the better for all of us. And I think that our intention is to continue to show that good Nigerians who are talented will always get an opportunity to function within this environment. And that's what we hope to see in the next few years.
Mr. Vice President, you appear to have raced ahead of us when you spoke about the judiciary. So permit me to bring you back a little bit.